name is Dan Messina. I'm a co-founder of HandsFree Health. Before I begin, let me wish everyone good health and everyone stay safe during this incredibly difficult time. I've never experienced anything close to this in my lifetime, and I hope I never have to experience anything like this again. I do think the worst is behind us. I see a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know how long that tunnel is, but I do believe better days are ahead. HandsFree Health is a voice technology platform that is secure, HIPAA compliant, and proprietary. It was developed by healthcare executives like myself because we understood the complexity of healthcare and the challenges that consumers face in dealing with healthcare. We designed this platform and handed it off to talented engineers and developers to help build for us. We knew voice recognition was going to grow rapidly over time. We saw it coming. We never, of course, saw this COVID-19 crisis, which has made voice recognition even more of an imperative today than it was in the past. HandsFree Health will be introducing our products this month. And I'll be sharing more with you about HandsFree Health as I continue to talk soon. Imagine a world where you can manage your health and wellness right from your home using only the power of voice. That world is here now. Imagine a world where you can wake up in the morning, ask a device if you have any reminders, and be told by that device in a HIPAA compliant, secure fashion that it's time to take your medication or time to see a doctor. WellB can meet the needs of every household member in a secure fashion through either voice recognition or a personal identification number. Each household member is in fact assigned a different color code that will light up should they have a reminder. You can ask it health questions, contact your doctor, refill prescriptions, and it'll even send your caregiver notifications. The WellB device has different color rings for each member of the household. This is very important from a HIPAA compliant and secure standpoint. So you don't have to worry about a situation where one member of your household hears some medical situation from another member of the household, or a friend walks in the house and also something that otherwise you wouldn't want them to hear. WellB is an integrated platform that is done in a secure fashion because we know that that is what's important to consumers. Imagine a day where you wake up in the morning, you ask WellB, what's the weather going to be today? WellB gives you the weather. You know what to plan for that day. You then see the light up, your light on the WellB, and you say, what's my reminder for today? WellB tells you it's time to take medication. Or reminds you maybe that you have to see a doctor that day. Heck, it could remind you it's time to defrost a chicken. Your day continues on, you maybe want WellB to play some music for you. Or you want to have WellB read a book to you. That's where voice recognition is in the healthcare world today. Today we're talking about voice technology. We're in a Voice Global Summit today. COVID-19 has made voice technology a very essential part of everyone's day. We knew voice technology was going to take off as it pertained to healthcare. We knew it would eventually. We also knew that technology as it pertained to health was way behind other industries like finance. But being isolated in homes 24/7, being apart from your loved ones, has brought the importance of voice technology as it pertains to healthcare to light. Now you may ask, what makes voice for health such an imperative? Let's first discuss the changing dynamics in health. The technology of health, when compared to, say, the financial industry, is dramatically different. In the financial industry, if you think about it, you can take an ATM card anywhere in the country, put it in a machine, anywhere in the world for that matter, put it in the machine, and have your funds given to you from your local bank. Now, in the healthcare industry, it doesn't work that simple. You can't go to a foreign country, you can't go to a foreign state and get a different prescription, for example. It's not nearly as easy. So the healthcare industry has always been behind other industries. Let's also talk about the pressures that have come to bear and that make technology an imperative. First, the pressure on consumers. You know, there was a time when consumers had their healthcare taken care of by their employers, easy, no problem, everything was submitted, simple fee-for-service business. Then HMOs came around, high deductible plans came around. And here we're in a situation right now, a dynamic where consumers are dealing with high deductibles, more expensive care, in-network versus odd-network, and whether or not that's covered, brand versus formula. Now let's talk about the pressure on large employers. You know, large employers, many of them are self-insured. So the cost of healthcare is their nickel. And health plans are really just taking care of the administrative side of the equation. The large employers need to identify that 20% of their employees who account for 80% of their costs. They need to make the delivery of care more efficient. They need to ease requirements for human resources with the questions that come about. And they need guidance and help during open enrollment. So employers have tremendous pressures as well as the dynamic of healthcare delivery has changed. Payers also have pressures. They want to have access for care for all the family members in their home. They want to find ways to reduce unnecessary health costs. And the way you go about doing it is through medication adherence and non-compliance alerts. If an individual or member is not taking care of their health in the proper fashion, going to an emergency center where they don't need to, taking a brand drug when taking a formula drug, I should say, when a brand drug would be just as effective, then the efficiency of delivery of care is going to be impacted negatively. If you talk about payers, let's look at the Medicare Advantage plans. They actually get more revenue from the government based on their star ranking. Now, the star ranking is based on measurements, about 34 different measurements. Voice recognition tools can impact over half of those measurements. And that could lead to a big revenue increase for a health plan provider. There's also pressure on hospitals and physicians. Hospitals want to avoid readmission. One way to avoid readmission is by making sure that the medical plan put forth by the hospital when you were discharged is being adhered to. Failure to adhere to that can lead to readmission, and more importantly, a problem for the individual employee or the physician, the patient. There's pressure to have adherence to the specialty visits. We're in a dynamic right now where 65% of specialty care referrals never take place. Now think about that. Either they're forgotten to take place, or the patient didn't think it was needed. So imagine that. It could be you had a knee replacement. You're supposed to see another physician to help you manage your knee. Imagine if that doesn't take place. Imagine if you get scar tissue, you're back in for more surgery. So you need to have constant reminders provided from the physician or from the hospital. Let them know when it's time to do their other follow-up medications and services. Same with prescriptions. There's an increased use of prescriptions right now. It's a huge dynamic which is happening in our country. I remember a time when total pharmacy costs represented maybe 5 or 6% of the total healthcare cost. Now it's double or even triple that. Let's talk about the changing dynamics from a demographic standpoint. Our population is aging. The baby boomers are all reaching past retirement age, reaching a point in time when they need to be taken care of. The generation, their children are finding themselves now in a role where they're acting as carekeepers for their parents. Young families are dealing with a whole host of questions regarding vaccinations, medications, allergies, several different things that can affect a young family. Expectant mothers, dealing with the uncertainty of how that's all going to play out. Plus, we have our population is more mobile now. We don't have the family clusters that once existed back in the 50s or even the 60s, where families sort of stayed not just in the same city, but in the same neighborhood. Now they're all over the world. So you're not able to take care of your parent, as was the case in the past generations. And then we had the busy schedules with children, work, and other responsibilities. Let's talk about the implications of the COVID-19 virus, because that's a dramatic factor right now as we think through why voice is so critical and other technology as well. The way we transact business in healthcare will forever change. We'll now have less access for employers, payers, and physicians to their members. Health benefits will change after COVID. Telemedicine, for example, will become much more popular, as it already has been. Another technology which has emerged is telehealth. Telehealth has emerged as the safest and most viable way to ensure patients have access to healthcare, and that's happened largely in the last few months. Telehealth is not new, but the experience of the COVID-19 crisis, in combination with easing of regulations, has made many telehealth services actually double since the beginning of March. COVID-19 has placed added burdens on our healthcare system, businesses, and individuals. We have seen a shift in the system and a need to access healthcare resources more than ever now in the home. Consumers, especially older Americans, need new health technology that they can access at home. The health tech industry has an opportunity to embrace these forced changes as a way to close the gap between our old, antiquated health system and our new, increasingly virtual health system. Sadly, it's taken a global health emergency to speed up adoption and innovation. But we think health technology, including telehealth services and voice technology, are here to stay. HandsFree Health uses voice to close the gap of care. It's designed to support consumers at their home and offer the consumers solutions both on health and wellness. We've reached a tipping point now for health technology, again, in part because of this COVID-19 crisis. But we're not going to turn back. Voice is here to stay. And services like HandsFree Health are going to provide consumers 24/7 access to healthcare. We call this the front door of healthcare, the ability of a consumer to have access to healthcare 24/7, 365 in the comfort of their own home, and to have that access in a HIPAA-compliant, secure fashion. I have had many leadership roles throughout my career, and those have been with some of the largest healthcare organizations in the world, including Cigna, Aetna, and Magellan Health. I've seen a lot of changes in my career in the area of health. As a matter of fact, when I began my career at Aetna and Cigna, both of those entities were multi-line insurance companies. I was part of the team that helped to have those multi-line insurance companies evolve into only a healthcare company. While that may have been more efficient for the Cignas and Aetnas of the world, it didn't improve the level of care and delivery of care and the administration of care for consumers. As a matter of fact, it made it more difficult. As a result, I helped to build Health Advocate. Health Advocate in its initial form was a very simple matter of simply picking up a phone, calling and speaking to a nurse or a benefit manager, and having any question you might have related to health resolved. It was addressed for the employee, their dependents, their parents and parent-in-laws. What became clear to us was that advocacy was something that was very much needed. People had tons of questions they were able to get in different parts, maybe by going to the insurance company or maybe going to some other site that has some question about pricing, but not in an integrated fashion. What became clearer to us as well is that voice recognition was the way it was headed, and that consumers being required to take on a greater burden of healthcare. Deductibles were increasing, premiums were increasing. Terms like brand versus formula drugs, in-network and out-of-network, all became the burden of the consumer to resolve. Nobody had an integrated platform to address these issues. By using voice recognition, you can now have that access on a 24/7 basis within your home. You can get answers to questions like how to find a doctor, where the closest emergency medical center is, how much it might cost for a knee replacement, and where's the best specialist to get a knee replacement from. You can get questions like, where's the closest pharmacy? Is it time to refill my prescription? COVID-19 has clearly sped up the need for voice recognition services. It's provided an opportunity for us to engage consumers through voice. As I mentioned, HandsFree Health is at the forefront using health through voice. It's HIPAA compliant, secure, and here's an important feature. It's easy to set up. We have filed for a patent for universal registration. That allows me to give my father in Massachusetts a WellB device, but I can set it up for him from my home in Connecticut. Now imagine that, the world we're living in today, where your loved ones are isolated by themselves in the home, and you're not able to go see them. Or you may be, without COVID-19, just not available to see them. Now you can make sure they have a device properly set up. You can be told when they're not taking their medications. You can make sure they're adhering to their medications. How much comfort does that provide for a caregiver? It can give you reminders. It can help you adhere to medications. We don't see voice recognition as only for consumers. We see it available also through large payers or associations. Think of a Medicare Advantage plan who may want to give a device to their chronically ill member, or give an overall just an app that's using the smartphone features for voice. These are some of the services that would be available. It's not just a consumer service in our mind. It's not just direct to consumer, it's also business to business. Finally, why can't individuals use the numerous tools already available? Why do they need one device? Fragmentation versus integration. Sure, there are a lot of services and tools out there that can meet many of the needs. There's transparency tools. You can find a doctor tools. You can look at the ranking of a doctor. You can look up issues on drugs. But it's all in different locations. What you want is an integrated service. You want it to be secure. You want it to be HIPAA compliant. And you want it to be easy to set up. As I mentioned, universal registration is a very, very important component in setting up a device like WellB. It can be done from far away, remotely, for your loved one. You want a device which is closed access, not open-ended, where anybody can put an app into it. You want a device which is not listening for anything other than the wake-up call and not recording your voice. And finally, you want a device that represents the hub for your home. A device that can not only just provide you with your health needs, but also entertainment features, as I spoke of, security features, books. One source for all is better than multiple different sources, many of which are less secure. So in summary, if you have a voice recognition tool which can minimize the pressure for all the constituents, the consumer and physicians, the payer and the employer, it will obviously enhance the efficiency of the overall delivery of care. It will result in better care for the employee or patient. It will result in less readmissions for sure in hospital. And it'll make the cost of care less. When you're dealing with WellB, WellB is not listening to your ongoing conversations. WellB is only listening for your wake-up call. When you wake WellB up, WellB knows that asking a general question about who won the World Series last year versus a question about a particular medication, it has the ability to know the difference and know at what point it has to ask for identification. You're in a family. There may be 5 or 6 people within your household. Each member of that household has their own PIN, has their own color. That's a very important peace of mind for everyone. Someone just can't come in from the outside and get access to your medical information. But they can come in from outside and ask WellB a general question, or play music, or read a book. That's the difference. And again, as I said about open access versus closed source, a very important feature, and one that most voice recognition tools do not have. You can't just let anybody come in to provide an app, because it becomes less secure in doing so. As you can see from this slide, the portfolio of products HandsFree Health will offer include the hub device, which has the ring of colors on the top and reminds you when it's time to take your medications or anything for that matter. It has a watch, which is really a personal emergency response system watch. In a way, serves as a MediAlert feature, but has many of the same features that the device itself has. It has an administrative app. And this is important because it's very easy to use. We've tested it with focus groups. The app is where you can input all the various different informations related to medications, doctors, pharmacists, etc. And we also will be offering an app that can be used by commercial consumers, such as, imagine a Medicare Advantage plan that maybe has 500,000 members, chooses to purchase a device for maybe 10,000 of their members, but then offer the app to the other 490,000 members. It's more efficient, less expensive. We think that HandsFree Health, through voice recognition, has developed a wide range of opportunities and services and products that will be available to not just consumers directly, but also businesses. Voice recognition is here to stay, as are other healthcare technologies. But when I look out in the future, and not too distant future, I see where these technologies can be used as a hub. Imagine a world where you can upload from your fitness watch directly to a device like WellB, or your blood pressure monitoring. All this is possible. It's not something that's down the road forever. It's something that's very near to happening. We're at the infancy of voice recognition in healthcare. We're connecting loved ones with physicians. We're doing it 24/7. 365. We are at the front door of healthcare. It's time to embrace the power of voice securely for health. Thank you for your time and stay safe. Okay, WellB, play me some Steely Dan music.
Playing FM by Steely Dan.